World Bank expects South Africa's economy to recover by 3.3% this year and return to what it terms a near potential pace of 1.7% in 2022, after contracting by an estimated 7.8% last year. However, it's warning in its Global Economic Prospects report that the pandemic has precipitated a dramatic fall in per capita income. And the result of that is dire. It's pushed tens of millions more people in South Africa and the rest of sub-Saharan Africa into extreme poverty. So how do we deal with this? Economist, regular contributor to Lunchtime from Wits University, Lumkile Mondi, good afternoon to you and welcome. First of all, those numbers in terms of the recovery, does that trajectory make sense to you?
Well, in fact, the recent events have really changed those numbers. Remember that most of our trading partners in Europe have had to lock down as well, as we also move from level 1 to level 3. And we know that in China, there's also another outbreak that is taking place around SARS-CoV-2. So I think the expectation was based on the fact that we now had control of the vaccine being rolled out and things slowly returning to what they were before the outbreak of SARS-CoV-2. So therefore, I think it's too much optimism, and we need to cut those numbers by at least 1% in taking into account that the recovery won't be as expected at the time the prospects were being written by the World Bank.
What is more concerning in the World Bank's analysis is that the disaster of 2020 has set back the average living standard of people in sub-Saharan Africa by a decade or more. So we really are in for the long haul.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at a country like South Africa, from 2014, its per capita GDP has been on decline, and we expect that last year it might have gone much down faster, given the fact that many South Africans lost jobs, but more important also had to draw now savings that were built over many, many years. So we expect that South Africa is going to slide down even as the second biggest economy in the continent, going to about maybe number 5 in relation to Nigeria, Egypt, even Kenya for that matter, catching up at a much more rapid pace. So South Africa has got an opportunity to really take hard decisions around how it recovers. And I doubt that the plans that we have today in South Africa and many of our neighbors around us, such as Zimbabwe as well as Mozambique, are not really enough for us to work towards the recovery of the GDP and the improvement of lives and incomes that will push our per capita incomes to high levels in the next 11 or 12 years, given the lack of impasse. Given the impasse and the lack of leadership that we see among various partners in business as well as in the political leadership within Southern Africa.
Lumkile Mondi, in a positive development today, the health minister announcing the arrival imminently of 1 million doses of the vaccine. The World Bank says the recovery in the region is going to be subdued unless policymakers move decisively, and I'm quoting here, to tame the pandemic and implement investment-enhancing reforms. We've spoken about that before, but here's the problem. The bank also foreseeing the wide-scale distribution of vaccine in the region facing hurdles, poor transport, poor infrastructure, weak health systems capacity. That is going to bedevil any recovery that we're talking about.
Absolutely. Jeremy, just for the viewers out there, here in the US, for example, in the state of Georgia, we have seen that the applications to the federal system to get the vaccine distributed have not yielded the required results. So even though the Americans have started rolling out over 2 weeks ago, but on the ground, the rollout has been very, very slow because of logistics. And therefore, the logistics and capabilities are critical. And we know that in South Africa, in a province like Eastern Cape, where the health system has been almost destroyed, and hence the high death rates that we've seen coming from that province, that's going to be a huge challenge, even distributed that minuscule 1.5 million vaccine to health workers. So South Africa may be in it for a long haul, given the logistic challenges, but also the corruption that we've seen in the past. Whether will the politicians also be first on the line, given what we've seen in the past in the ANC-led government?
Lumkile Mondi, thank you very much indeed. Currently in the United States and attached to Wits University. Police